So we'll move to the third derivation, that is the last derivation on this module, that is known as a potential energy function for the beam. So here we are going to consider the potential energy means. So this potential energy function phi is equal to strain energy plus work potential. Again, this will comes in the module number 1. So as I told, strain energy, what is the Rayleigh's method, Galerkin method, we have not done that. And potential energy method, we have not done that. So that problems you have to do it. That we in that this will come. The potential energy of the function is sum of strain energy plus work potential. So therefore, first we'll find out the strain energy for the beam. Then we'll find the work potential. If you add it, you will get the total work potential function. Phi is called potential energy functional. Therefore, here we are going to consider the strain energy with respect to two conditions. One is with respect to the stress condition and with respect to the bending moment condition. Therefore, we know strain energy is equal to half of sigma dA into dx. And also we know bending equation m by I is equal to sigma by y. Therefore, sigma is equal to my by I. And also we know strain. Strain is sigma by Young's modulus. Therefore, sigma means I already know m by I into y. That I substitute here. Then also we know differential equation for the bending what we considered previously. M is equal to EI d square V by dx square. In the stiffness matrix we consider stiffness matrix. In the stiffness matrix derivation we considered this one. Hope you can remember that. Where we consider in the stiffness matrix. Yeah. So here we consider no M is equal to EI d square V by dx square. That is known as differential equation for the bending moment. The same thing what we are going to do is M by M by M by E is equal to Y by A we got. Therefore, and also we know that differential equation for the bending is d square V by ds square EI is equal to M. Next, let's take EI this side and d square V by ds square will be left on the right hand side. So therefore, from equation number 1, that is equation number here, strain energy is equal to sigma. Sigma means what we can substitute my by I. And also we know that m by I is equal to okay. And also we know this one. M, yeah, actually here one more term is left. It. Actually here the strain energy for the this one is sigma into strain energy into dA into dx. Therefore, we need to find what is value of sigma, what is the value of strain. Sigma we got as m by I, my by I, and strain energy we got as my by E. So here they missed this term. Strain yes, this one is strain is there. Sigma into epsilon into dA into dx. Therefore, sigma is equal to m into y by I. Epsilon is equal to my by EI. So these two terms will value. We are going to substituting where in the strain energy equation. Sigma means my by I into epsilon means my by EI into dA into dx. Therefore, if you multiply these two, m square by y square EI square will be there. So m square EI square into y square dA into dx as usual. And also we know that integration of y square into dA we called as moment of inertia. This is known as parallaxes theorem. So hope you can know that in civil engineering first year subject, this is what you proved. Integration of y squared is nothing but moment of inertia, that is using a parallaxes theorem. So that in place of here y square, just y square dA we substitute as I. Therefore in place of y square d substitute as I. Therefore here one I and another y get cancelled. One I, another I get cancelled. Therefore strain energy become integration of m square ei by dx. So this is what we got as strain energy, and still further simplification is multiply and divided by ei. So multiply and divided by ei. Therefore so multiply ei divided by ei into ei whole square. Therefore I can call it as integration of m by ei whole square. This m by ei whole square I can call it as, so what we, according to the bending differential equation, m by ei we can call it as d square v by dx square. So that is what we substituted here. In place of m by ei, I substitute as d square v by dx square whole square into ei into dx. Therefore the total strain energy become half of ei into integration of d square v by dx square whole square into dx. So we got strain energy. Finally what we want? Work potential. Work potential is strain energy plus work potential. Potential energy function we want phi. For that we need strain energy plus work potential. Therefore strain energy anyway we derived. What is derived? U is equal to half of integration of ei d square v by ds square into dx minus work potential. So that work potential we are going to consider with respect to the three loads. One is body load, one is point load, body load, point load, and another one is with respect to the moment. So therefore we are going to take it as work potential is phi is equal to strain energy. This is the strain energy minus work potential. Work potential due to the this one body load is p integration of pv into dx. See again this strain energy for concentrated load, strain energy for bending, that is bending moment, and body force. These three strain energy equation separately derivation is there, but that derivation we are not going to do here. We are going to take the work potential equation for those condition directly here. See, this is the 0 to l 0 to l pv into dx, pv into dx, integration of 0 to l pv into dx, where p is the load, v stands for volume. Okay, so into dx, and one more load pv. So for the work potential for this condition is summation of pv into vm. And for the bending load is, that is bending moment is m into v. See v stands for here, v stands for deflection. So force into displacement will give the your what you call a this one work potential. Work done is nothing but force into displacement. See, one is with respect to the concentrated load, one is with respect to the bending moment, another one is actually distributed load. So for the distributed load, it is pv into dx 0 to l integration. So and for concentrated load, suppose if the concentrated load it is acting at point m, then pv into vm. V stands for deflection. Similarly, when the bending moment acting particular point k, then it is summation of m into k. So all this work potential are negative. Why? Because work done is on the system. Work done is on the system is, we know that it is negative. So bending moment into deflection will give the what you call load into displacement will give the work done due to the bending moment. and load into displacement with respect to the constant load, and load it. This is the work potential due to the distributed load. So therefore, here V stands for not volume, sir. V stands for here displacement. So this final equation will give the sum of strain energy plus work potential. So this is the equation for work potential whenever for a condition of the beam when subjected to a load like UDL load, distributed load, or it may be a point load, or it may be a couple. So this is the derivation. Small derivation, maybe one or two times they asked this, not much important, but anyway, we need to cover it. Is there in the syllabus. So I will repeat once again. Potential energy function you have to derive for the beam means this is the condition. It is sum of strain energy plus work potential. Therefore, we need to derive for strain energy. We know strain energy general equation is half of integration of sigma into epsilon. Epsilon is not printed here, but epsilon is there. Sigma into epsilon into dA into dx. Therefore, we need to find what is sigma, what is epsilon. For that, find out the sigma, we need to consider the bending moment equation now. That is bending stress formula. M by I is equal to sigma by y. Therefore, sigma become M into y divided by I. And also, this is the sigma value. Again, we are considering the Hooke's law. According to the Hooke's law, epsilon is equal to sigma by E. Therefore, again, sigma means I can substitute back this. Therefore, this is become epsilon. And also, we know differential equation for the bending moment is M is equal to EI d square V by dx square. Therefore, M by I is EI is equal to d square V by dx square, where d square by dx square is called as slope. Therefore, we got epsilon value, we got sigma value. We need to substitute in the equation number 1. Therefore, strain energy become 1 half of integration of sigma. Sigma means here we got my by I into epsilon my by ei into dA into dx. So therefore, m into become m square, ei into I become ei square into y into y become y square into d into d. Therefore, we can call y square dA as I according to the parallax theorem. So therefore, that is what we substituted here, y square dA as I into half of m square ei square into dx. Next, I get cancelled. Therefore, only one I will be there. After that, what we need to do is we need to multiply and divide it by ei. Therefore, if we multiply ei divided by ei into ei become in denominator ei whole square. Therefore, I can call it as half of integration of m by ei whole square into ei into dx. Again, m by ei means just we consider here d square v by dx square. That slope value we need to substitute. So therefore, this is known as strain energy for a bending for a beam. Strain energy equation for a beam. So therefore, finally, we need to derive work potential is sum of strain energy plus work potential. So therefore, potential energy function for the beam pi is equal to strain energy. Strain energy for the beam, what we derived this one, plus work potential. So work potential, what we considering with respect to the concentrated load, with respect to the distributed load, and with respect to the bending moment. Then the strain energy for the distributed load is 0 to L P into V into dx, where V stands for deflection or translation moment. And similarly for the point load, it is sum of P into V, that is force into displacement acting at a point M, minus due to the bending load, the work potential is summation of M into deflection, that will give the work potential which is acting at point per K. So all work potential are negative because force is acting on the beam. That's why work done is on the system. That is the reason we taken as negative. So this is the about work potential derivation with respect to the beam. So there are 3 derivation: Hermite shape functions, stiffness derivation, matrix and this one. Out of these three, which is most important derivation is the most important derivation is first Hermite, then stiffness matrix. And sometime 1 or 2 time only they may be asked for 6 marks. This one, this small derivation, and rest of the derivation has 8 marks will be there. Only this one is 6 marks. So, but you have to practice well, which is most derivation is Hermite shape function. That too, Cartesian coordinate only. First you practice well. Usually they will ask you derive the Hermite shape function. There are two derivation will be there in that two types, either with respect to natural coordinate system or with respect to the Cartesian. If they anyone asked means particularly you have to write that one only. Otherwise you can do either natural coordinate system method or you can do Cartesian coordinate method with respect to that. So this completed the derivation part on beam. Derivation part on the beam. Hello. Hello.
It's a speaker.
Now, now we are moving to the problem. But in case of a beam, the main important in the problem is one stiffness matrix formula, and here the beams are subjected to various types of loads, as we know that one is concentrated load, UDL load, UVL. Then the force vector what will be there, that is different for different cases. Again there is a derivation force, nodal force vector for different types of load, but anyway that derivation is not there. Finally we need only the final expression. So therefore we want to write only that expression, and based on that we are going to solve the problem. Now all of you take in a notebook, all of you write down the first formula list. We'll do it one by one, and then we'll go to the problems. So first formula is, you write it first, all of you write down. Hello, all of you note down. The first formula is this one: V is equal to N1 delta 1 plus N2 delta 2 plus N3 delta 3 plus N4 delta 4. That you write it. All of you writing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where N1 nothing but then Hermite shape functions. N1, N2, N3 are called Hermite shape function, where N1 is equal to, write down this. You write only this much. This much only you write. N1 equal to 1 minus 3x square by L square plus 2x cube by L cube. 1 minus 3x square by L square plus 2x cube by L cube. Hermite shape function with respect to the Cartesian coordinate system, you write it. N1 is equal to minus 3x square by L square plus 2x cube by L cube. With respect to Cartesian, you write it. Heading. Next, N2 is x minus 2x square by L plus x square divided by L square. X minus 2x square by L plus x square divided by L square. Next, N3 equal to 3x square by L square minus 2x square by L cube. 3x square by L square minus 2x square by L cube. over.
Yes, sir.
Next, n4 is this one, minus s square by l plus x cube by l square, minus x square by l plus x cube by l square, cube by l square. Over. Over.
Yes, sir.
Hermite-Shem function for with respect to natural coordinate system, you write. Hermite-Shem function with respect to natural coordinate system is
Okay. Yes.
next. Next, the nodal displacement vector delta, nodal displacement vector delta equal to delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, delta 4. That is equal to v1 theta 1, v2 theta 2. So here we are not going to use q. Entire problem, what is nodal displacement vector, we are going to use called delta. So in place of q1, q2, q3, q4, we are going to use v1 theta 1, v2 theta 2, v3 theta 4, like that. That is the things we are going to use here, notations. So delta is nothing but nodal displacement vector with respect to the each node. There are 2 degrees of freedom. One is translation, one is slope or rotation. But v1 theta 1, v2 theta 2, and so on. Got it? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now next one, stiffness matrix for the beam. Stiffness matrix for the beam is, write down, E k is equal to EI by L cube, and right, EI by L cube 12 6 L. This is L, okay, not 61. 6L minus 12 6L 6L 4L square minus 6L 2L square minus 12 minus 6L 12 minus 6L 6 2L square minus 6L 4L square. Stiffness matrix for the beam. over
Yes,
over.
sir.
Next, now very important, nodal force vector in that first case, write down for a point load, for a point load and couple, for a point load and couple. See, suppose you consider a beam at node 1 there is no force. Here they given as F, one is constant load, one is couple. So node 1 means in each node there are 2 degree of freedom. So F1, M1, F2, M2, F3, like that. Therefore, then the nodal force become F1, M1, F2, M2, F3, M3, and so on, like that. So whenever the point load and couple is given, so particular here F1 is 0 because with respect to this here there is no vertical force, no movement is here. Therefore, that is 0. But F2, M2, what is the value they will give, that you have to write. If couple is not given, then you have to write 0. So this is then about nodal force vector when the point load and couple is given. F1, M1, F2, M2. F1, F2 are called concentrated load. M1, M2 are called like couple. Got it? Hello? Hello? Over? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Next, same case UDL. Suppose in case of a beam subject to a uniformly distributed load, then what is the nodal force vector? So I have to memorize well this WL by 2, WL square by 12, WL by 2, and WL square by 12. L is nothing but here how much span of the UDL is acting, that is called L. So this and all by deriving you will get this, but derivation we are not going to take it. Final expression we are going to take it. Minus WL square by 12. Last this term minus WL square by 12. One minute, wait, I will verify. Yes, minus WL square by 12. Last term is minus 12 WL minus WL square by 12. Minus WL square by term. You have to memorize this. WL by 2, WL square by 12, WL by 2 minus WL square by 12. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, last one. In case of uniformly varying load given, and that too again, see that there are two types again. Suppose if maximum load is acting on the left side and other node it is 0, like this, then the nodal force vector is like this. You'll get WL by 60, 21, 3L, 9, minus 2L. 1 minute, I will verify. That is not 21, L. Okay. 2L, this is L. 2L, 3L, 9 minus 2L. WL by 60, 2L, 3L, 9 minus 2L. If the load, maximum load acting on the left side and the right side, it is 0. Suppose in case next is reverse. Left side is 0, right side is maximum W is acting. Then the nodal force vector become WL by 60, 9, 2L. This is sorry. You make a correction. Hello, 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 hello.
Yes, sir.
See, in case of UVL, the first one with the load acting left side and here 0, it is 21 only. It is not L. In case of right hand side, it's acting maximum load and left hand is 0. Then WL by 69, 2L, 21 minus 3L. This is 21 only, not L. See, that is the things here. Very important beams problem when you're doing. In till now trusses bars, it's no confusion like that. Everything is same. But in case of here, it is totally different. That too, with respect to the load conditions. Formula is 21 3L 9 minus 2L, and this is 9 2L 21 minus 3L into WL by 60. So this condition is only based on this load condition. When the load is acting, left side is maximum, right side is 0, then this one. Left node is 0, right side is maximum, then this is the condition. And also we are going to consider here the sign convention, as I told in the beginning of the derivation. Sign convention is, this is about the formula list, okay? And sign convention, if M is acting in the counterclockwise, bending moment is acting in the counterclockwise, then positive. If theta also acting in the counterclockwise, positive. And forces acting, the any vertical forces which is acting upward, then it is positive. Downward forces are considered negative. Clockwise movements are considered as negative. Sign convention also very important. Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Over. That is.
Yes, sir.
And one more thing, one more formula. I think. Yeah, Yeah. One more you write next formula. Here also in entire beam, how you solved in the mom bending moment and shear force diagram. You have to draw it now. So here also we are going to calculate bending moment and shear force at each node. Write down internal load. Internal load is nothing but shear force and bending moment. Next one you added interload. Inter, not internal. Interload. In bracket you write shear force and bending moment. Suppose for element 1 SF1 shear force at node 1, bending moment at node 1, SF2 shear force at node 2, bending moment at node 2, BM2 is equal to K1 into delta 1. K1 into delta 1. Similarly for element 2, SF2, BM2, SF3, BM3, K2 into delta 2. Like that it will come. Are you getting what I'm saying? Hello? Interload, shear force and bending moment for element 1. Element 1, there are two nodes will be there. 1 and 2. Therefore, shear force at node 1, bending moment at node 1, shear force at node 2, bending moment at node 2 is equal to K1 into delta 1. Understand? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nitish? Nitish?
Yes, sir.
Written? All of you written? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So, and leave some space, any extra other formula will comes. That also we are going to add. And reactions also you write as usual. Reactions is R is equal to, write down, end reactions R is equal to, vector R is equal to K delta minus F. KQ minus F now same one. In place of Q, we are going to use delta. K delta minus F. R is equal to K delta minus F. Written?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So by this, we are going to start the problem. Okay. So, but not today. Next class we are going to start and leave some space. Any extra formula will come at the middle. We'll going to add it in that formula list. We'll see that later. Fine. Okay. This completed the by this completed the all theory part.